Thank you, Chairman Mast, and thank you, Mast, and thank you to our witness, Secretary Kerry, for appearing here today. It is safe to say that I have a very different view of your work and this subject than my friend, Chairman Mast. I represent a district in Colorado, a state that has been shaped dramatically every year by changes to our climate. Climate crisis is real. There is no doubt about that. My constituents know that. As we sit here right now, millions of Americans are dealing with extreme weather events that are causing terrible, terrible disasters across vast swaths of our country. I agree that issues of helping our constituents pay their mortgage is important, but it's hard to pay your mortgage if your house is underwater. It's hard to pay your electric bill if it's 110 degrees for weeks and weeks on end, and that is the reality that so many of our constituents and so many Americans are facing. The climate crisis is going to have profound impacts on our water supply, on drought conditions that increase the risk of destructive wildfires and limit agricultural yields, and on infrastructure that's being damaged by heavy rains and extreme disasters every day. The growing reality for so many in Colorado is one of increasingly familiar to those across the nation, whether it be poor air quality from wildfire smoke, extreme heat, or massive flooding. The ramifications of climate change are widely felt. A changing climate has and will drive mass migration. It will exacerbate food insecurity, it will worsen health indicators, and it will challenge every government on earth to adapt to extreme stress on the goods and services they need to deliver for their citizens. This global problem then requires global solutions. Just as we have sat in this room and discussed the need to work with partners to counter Russian aggression, to compete with the PRC, and to provide aid across the world to those who need it, addressing climate relies on multilateral efforts, perhaps more so than any other. Securing more ambitious commitments from countries around the world is only one part of the puzzle. Our climate policies must also include the onshoring of supply chains for critical technologies and reducing our reliance on fossil fuels. As an added benefit, these policies will drive economic growth, strengthen industry, and create new jobs in the process. These solutions are necessary because climate change stresses not one system, but all of them. As a former Army Ranger and in my work in Congress through the Foreign Affairs and Armed Services Committee and the Intel Committee, I've directly wrestled with the national security impact of our changing climate. That national security impact may be the resiliency of our nation's bases. It can have on our existing infrastructure to withstand rising sea levels and extreme weather events. The question is, are we resilient in ensuring that we can sustainably defend our nation without delay or obstruction? The instability that climate change drives can also create new national security challenges beyond our borders. How will we respond to the millions of people across the world who lack sufficient food, clean water, shelter, medical care, functioning infrastructure, safety from conflict, and reliable good governance? The diplomacy that we need to meet these challenges head-on requires that we lead by example. The absence of our leadership would leave an open door for other nations, including China, to fill in our stead. I am very encouraged by this administration's efforts to recommit the United States to environmental protection and to bold multilateral engagement. The placement of the SBEC role at the cabinet level is a clear indicator to all that we are serious about making demonstrable gains on climate policy. The administration's reentry into the Paris Climate Accord, various executive orders on climate change, and review of environmental rollbacks sought in recent years show that we are pursuing evidence-based policymaking across the federal government at home and abroad. So I look forward to our witness speaking to these critical concerns and answering our questions to the best of his knowledge and ability. And with that, I yield back the balance of my time.
Thank you, Ranking Member Crow.